But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
Like firing them. Yeah. We need to do everything important to take care of them, like firing them. Yeah, this is a great idea. Great idea. Now, not only was this a non-answer, I want you to know, if I was in Microsoft and if I was a Microsoft exec and I was watching this interview, dude, I would want to fire Sarah Bond. This was one of the worst answers I've ever seen for a question, maybe ever in the gaming space. Like, it might be almost as bad as Nikita's answer. Nah, Nikita's was worse because that was like straight up a bold-faced lie when it came to the BSG situation. But this is a pretty bad answer. And if I was a shareholder of Xbox, which I'm not, if I had stock of theirs, I would feel very uncomfortable with the head of Xbox Gaming being this out of touch and not even able to string a sentence together. Guys, we have a very interesting video to watch. So as we covered over the past couple of days, Xbox has been having some issues. They've had massive layoffs. They closed 4 game companies of varying quality for varying reasons. And I talked in great detail about those. I don't know if you've seen those videos, but if you have not, definitely check them out. I went into an absolute boatload of detail. But we got a little bit of a treat today. We got a little bit into the mind of an Xbox executive. In fact, the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond. And so she went on Bloomberg Tech, and the whole interview is live on YouTube. So we're going to watch it and try to see what is going on because, I don't like the situation of the game companies closing. I think I have a very unique take, considering my business background, on why each one got closed. But I'll hopefully be able to glean some stuff from here and be able to explain some more good stuff as this discussion continues. Absolutely. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. Sarah Bond. I've never actually heard her speak too much before, ever at all. But I have, like, when she was announced as Xbox president, I think it was like what, a couple of years ago, year and a half, something like that. I did look her up, and I was a little worried because her background is a little spotty. And we'll cover that as well, especially with the context of this video. So let's see how it goes.
Stage Sarah Bond,
How's the
president
sound,
of
guys?
Xbox at Microsoft, for a conversation with Bloomberg's Dina Bass.
Loud enough? Too loud? How does it sound, guys? How does it sound? Let me know. CCs are on. Good song. I know that song.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. So I want to start talking about the industry in general. You and Microsoft Games CEO Phil Spencer have been raising kind of the alarm.
Let's turn it up a little bit.
The video game industry is just not growing, and there's a real need to figure out how to reverse that.
Right.
What's causing the issue, and how does Xbox turn it around?
Yeah, I'll try to pause anytime I talk.
The last year or so,
Let's see.
in video games, largely the industry's been flat. And even in 2023, we saw just some tremendous releases, tremendously groundbreaking games. But
already gonna pause it. Sorry to interrupt her. So this is a moment of insight. The fact that she's talking about the year being flat as her first answer shows the mind of what Microsoft and Xbox are thinking. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that I said it before, but I'll say it again. The reason that Xbox closed the 4 game companies and did the layoffs already, and I think there's more to come, I think we're just scratching the surface of these layoffs, by the way, is they were required to do so by Microsoft. I'm pretty sure that the reason is that, prior to about, like, what is it, like 4 years ago, Microsoft... with Microsoft's, like, huge amount of business that they do and everything, everything related to Xbox was basically a blip on the radar, and it amounted to basically a rounding error compared to the rest of their total revenue and total market share and everything like that in general. They're literally the biggest company in the entire world, bar none. So Xbox, if they had a misstep with the Xbox 360, sorry, with the Xbox One, and so on and so forth, it didn't matter. It didn't matter to Microsoft. They could just eat the cost. However, in the past 4 years, we had a $7.5 billion acquisition by Xbox to buy Bethesda. And then fast forward a couple of years to just last year ago, we had a $75 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's a gigantic amount of money. That is like a ridiculously large amount of money. That's not a rounding error anymore. Let me confirm the numbers. I'm pretty sure my numbers are correct, but let me confirm. Xbox acquisition price for Bethesda. Let's see. 7.5 billion. Okay. Yeah, I think I said million by accident. So yeah, billion. Which is a lot of money, but that was like their first big purchase. And for Activision Blizzard, pretty sure 75. Yep. So yeah, $75 billion is 1/10 of $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of dosh. This is Xbox no longer being a blip on Microsoft's radar. It is now more than a blip. It is an absolute behemoth of a cost now at this point. So there's no doubt in my mind that with the gaming growth slowing, that is a big issue for Microsoft. You see, a company like Microsoft, publicly traded companies in general, I've talked about this at length with any of my discussions about Sony, about PSN debacle, and so on and so forth. The line is always supposed to go up. Even if it doesn't make sense, the line needs to go up. And when the line doesn't go up, that's when closures happen. That's when Microsoft gets involved and they say, hey, we need you to drop this many number of people. They'll give a number, 1,000 people, whatever, and it doesn't matter where you find them, you gotta fire them, and that's it. And if you don't, like if Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer didn't fire those companies, didn't close those companies, they'd be fired. Just straight up. Like I'm pretty sure that's exactly what would happen. I know how corporations work. But yeah, and we'll discuss that existential and darts up, absolutely. But yeah, that is my take on it already. And the fact that this is her first answer is very telling. Very, very, very telling.
Still, the growth didn't follow all of that.
Oh yeah. That was my second point. They got used to COVID growth, just like every tech company out there, every gaming company out there. They got used to the growth that happened during COVID. That wasn't natural growth. That was external factors. Like I said and explained to you guys how active God works. There's a clause in every contract here for engineering and construction, which is a lot of what I do, engineering and construction management. It's called active God. And that means that like a contract cannot be broken for blah, blah, blah reasons, right? Of course. But one of the caveats is always active God, as in like, earthquake happens and swallows up the entire building or something. You can't really predict that. That's not, going to be our liability in that instance. That's what that means. So COVID was one of these active God situations where everything changed. And, every game company and every tech company, they were getting a lot of VC money and they were getting a lot of investment money because they saw a huge balloon of growth. Anyone with a fucking brain knew that this level of growth was not going to be sustainable, and it was only a growth that happened due to COVID. Everyone's being stuck inside. What's there to do? We can't go outside. We can't risk getting COVID. We can't get infected, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's playing fucking video games. Everyone's watching Netflix. Same reason for Netflix and streaming growth as well. but the companies got used to it. And investors don't care about the reasons. Shareholders don't care about these things. All they want is line to continue to go up. And it was really dumb for Xbox to think and Microsoft to think the line would stop going up. That's exactly what's going to happen in this situation. And they didn't put their investments smartly. They didn't do things like I'll bring up what you were saying now because this perfectly fits. Existential Nerd correctly said, how to increase sales. Let the games bake, make less live service, listen to fans and players. Rethink day one marketing on Game Pass. I love it, but second party day one releases is not sustainable. I kind of disagree with you on some of the points, but I understand the spirit of what you're saying. And we can debate that later on as well, because I think you have some really interesting ideas and they're debatable ideas, but like it's cool ideas. And it's looking at the longevity of the company and trying to figure out what will actually help it grow. Now, the first one, I completely agree with you. Let games bake is completely agreed. And less live service, while I agree with you, that is not what corporate wants. What corporate Microsoft wants is for line to go up. The best way to make line go up is by making games that require subscription. Look at Microsoft as a company. Everything at Microsoft, from Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office to OneDrive to everything, every single service now that Microsoft provides almost is a subscription. That's not on accident. That's on purpose. It's because they know how much higher of a return is on subscription services than on a one-off price, like buying something for $50 or whatever. Oh, look at that. Right on cue. OneDrive is like, yeah, you're full. Yeah, I fucking know. I'm not going to pay for you. I only pay for basic OneDrive. Look at Warner Brothers and Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly. Oh no, Wade Wilson. Yeah, I made that video. You might really like that video about what Warner Brothers, what the incorrect lessons that Warner Brothers took from the past couple of years of their losses and gains. Yeah, it's really dumb. It's really dumb. Uninstall that shit. It came with the computer. Normally I have it uninstalled. It came with the computer. So I haven't figured out all the stuff that I need to install and uninstall. Is that one? Yeah, you should. It's a really good one. Dodsup said, here's my take. Game Pass and PlayStation Plus ruined gaming because the threat of failure kept game devs passionate and hungry. Okay. If the devs know the game is going to die, is going to be day one Game Pass and still get paid, why should they care? COD is being consumed to be day one Game Pass, and COD is already terrible. What do you mean? What? COD is not announced to be day one Game Pass. Everyone is thinking with the Activision acquisition that it might become a day one Game Pass thing to drive subscriber numbers. However, I think that would be a really bad idea. I think that's a really bad idea. A lot of people think that might be a thing to go. But yeah, I think that. So on one hand, a lot of people who are Game Pass subscribers want COD to be on Game Pass. And it's because, they want the latest and greatest to be on Game Pass. However, you are right in stating that, and essentially said this earlier as well, that day one Game Pass basically kills the sales for the actual game. Why the hell would you buy the game for $70, $60, $30, whatever, even for higher tier, lower tier, mid tier games, when you could just pay the subscription fee for Game Pass, $9, and just play it on there? So, Helldivers is not on Game Pass. That is true. It wasn't day one on Game Pass. Yes, but it was still on Game Pass, and it was announced to be on Game Pass. So a lot of people didn't buy the game because they waited for it to be on Game Pass. It wasn't day one. You are correct, but it was on Game Pass, and that definitely affected the sales figures. And I think this is illustrative of what Existential was saying correctly, that being put on Game Pass does affect sale numbers. And that is 100% true. That is 100% true. However, having this subscription service makes Xbox a lot of money. So the real question is the juice worth the squeeze? Now, what the real problem is, guys, that Xbox and Microsoft are not investing into smaller, more numerous good games that would drive people to want to play them on Xbox and on Game Pass. That is the real issue here. So, in my opinion, making relationships with companies that make things like Pal World, Vampire Survivors, things like that, and putting those on Game Pass is a very good idea. Those aren't first-party Xbox games, and putting those on Game Pass pulls subscriber numbers to Game Pass 100%. But they did that in a very limited fashion. Game Pass is still a really good deal. You get a bunch of games from it, but they could have done much better with this. And all of these companies that they closed, they had ideas for other games that would have been great revenue drivers, not only for single day sales, but also for Game Pass. What I think they need to do is that a lot of things being released day one on Game Pass is a bad idea. I think releasing things a month later on Game Pass is a better idea. And, leaving it as a question mark, which ones will be going on there and which ones won't. Announcing it, I think, is a misstep. I think that, having people buy the game for like they did with HifiRush. People bought HifiRush because it wasn't day one on Game Pass. It was, I think, 30 days, 60 days later or something, it went on Game Pass. But they announced it. So a lot of people didn't buy it on Xbox. However, people on PC bought the shit out of it. People on other platforms, they bought the shit out of HifiRush. Very popular game, really good game. And they made good amounts of money. If they did the same thing for Starfield, for example, if they did the same thing for other games that are on Xbox Game Pass exclusive, they would have gotten people buying the game, and then later on, the people who didn't end up buying the game would be going on Game Pass. Yeah, exactly. HifiRush was already, discussed internally between, Tango Gameworks. They went to Xbox saying, hey, this is our plan. This is what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. And then they got shut down. Now, what I think was they didn't give enough resources for a game like Tango, for a game company like Tango, who's a very small team, to be able to make HifiRush faster. That's what they should have, HifiRush 2. That's what they should have done. Instead, what they did was they were thinking it took 4 years to make HifiRush 1. And it's a great game, but it took 4 years. Very small company, very small dev team, but it took 4 years. They didn't want to wait another 4 years to make HifiRush 2. Personally, I think that's wrong. They should have waited. However, I'm just telling you why they deleted Tango. This is why. They didn't want to wait another 4 years for HifiRush 2. Even if it was going to be a commercial and critical success, it was going to be too long and they needed a line to go up. And also, the entire gamble that Xbox did, Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer and Xbox executives, in order to get into the Japanese market, they bought Tango. That's why they bought Tango. And Shinji Mikami, who was a big reason, he was the head of Tango Game Studios at the time, he left the company. After the acquisition, he was like, well, you paid me a bunch of money. I'm just going to stick in Japan and you guys can do whatever you want. And he said it nicely. He's basically like, I created Tango. His words were very nice. He said, I created Tango Game Studios, I'm paraphrasing, to be an incubator for interesting game ideas, for people being basically taking risks artistically and stuff. And now they're successful at that. So I don't have to be in the company anymore. And he left to do his own thing. Xbox saw this as, shit, we paid all this money to get Shinji Mikami, one of the greatest video game creators of all time, a literal legend, and now we have a game company without him in it. And that's how they saw it. And so they decided that our foray, as in their foray, into the Japanese market for Xbox is now a dud, and we should, not throw good money after bad. I don't agree with them. I think they made the wrong idea here. But yeah, that's what they thought. That's the entire thing about why they did that. By the way, being put up the consoles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, many of the first party, second party titles coming from them are being put up for sale on other consoles to allow for profits to come in while promoting Game Pass on Xbox and PC and mobile for streaming. Yes, you are correct, Egg Central. They're going to be going to cloud gaming in a big way for that reason. Yeah.
A lot of that's related to our need to bring new players in, make gaming more accessible. But all of that has been happening at the same time that the cost associated with making these beautiful AAA blockbuster games is going up, and the time.
See, this is an issue. Executives like her, executives like, you know, all these people that we hate at Sony and Capcom and stuff, they all want the AAA blockbuster. They want the big money. They've forgotten what makes a lot of these companies successful. Making smaller, more bite-sized games that are limited in scope, don't cost a gigantic arm and a leg to make, and they're just good games that people buy, they enjoy, they consume, they cost a whole lot less, but they also, you know, they cost a whole lot less for consumers to buy, but it also costs a whole lot less for people to make. And they're just good games, and people enjoy them, and it's done. And it's made a profit. Again, game companies like these gigantic corporations, they want the billion-dollar home run. Yeah, exactly. GTA 6 is literally over $2 billion in development already. Completely agreed. Yes, completely correct. And it's very scary. It's very scary for the game company to do that because they're spending $2 billion. And it's going to be 6 years down the road. If they screw up the day one launch, for example, that's $2 million down the drain. That's a big problem for all these game companies that made that made the jump to try to do all these live service gambles. All the games that we've been discussing. Suicide Squad, Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones, they made that into a live service tripe. Hyenas, Anthem, the list goes on and on and on for all the live service massive failures. 2 billion. Yes, GTA 6 is already $2 billion cost. Yes, Steel Zipper. So yeah, this is what they want though. This is what these corporations want.
Time it takes to make them is going up. And so much of our focus as Xbox is about how we do things to help the industry all up, while also ensuring that our brand, everything that we do is there through this moment of transition.
This is such a non-answer. She hasn't said anything useful for the entire minute 45 seconds so far. In terms of like useful for her, she's basically trying to play defense right now. And she's doing a terrible job at it.
Related to some of the trends you're identifying,
Yeah.
Earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios.
Here we go.
I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?
Good question.
Yeah, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that.
True. Okay, yeah.
I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry. And when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through
Gamer
moments,
pose.
even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And
what? She's basically describing the opposite of what you would do, how you wouldn't shutter game companies. And then she's talking about it like she didn't shutter game companies, and that's exactly what they did. They closed 4 of them. And a couple of them being very good ones. What?
The news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that.
The action is the opposite.
And our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term.
Again, translation, they were forced to do this by Microsoft. 100% they're forced to do this by Microsoft.
But that said, our commitment to...
Yeah, Existential said, did she just give the blink of how to spin this shit so it doesn't sound like shit? Yeah. She's very uncomfortable with this question.
Having our own studios and working with partners to have games large and small. Mm-hmm. We're a platform where you can play GTA, but you can also play Palworld, where you can play Call of Duty, and you can also play Pentiment. That doesn't change. And
She's trying to say the volume of games that they have on Xbox Game Pass, it doesn't matter that they shuttered 4 companies. And this is a really, really idiotic line, considering that a big issue with Xbox in general is that they have 0 games almost that they develop themselves. One of them that they did develop themselves was freaking HifiRush, and that company is now closed. One of the few companies that actually made an Xbox game is closed. They have no games that they made themselves. I mean, Sony's running into this issue as well. Like, I'm not saying like this is a problem unique to Xbox. It's just incredibly tone deaf on Xbox end right now. But Sony's running into this issue as well. They produced very, very, very few games for the PS5.
and frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays is
This is such a non-answer.
of Xbox and everything we do.
She's trying to deflect by bringing up a game company that we all know and love and being like, see, we're okay, guys. We got Bethesda, we got all these other, we have GTA 5. You don't have to worry. But no, it's completely idiotic, tone deaf, and politicians speak. Well, you'll find out, Darkshade. I don't know how much you've dealt with a lot of corporations. I've dealt with them way too much in my line of business. But corporate execs and politicians are incredibly similar. They talk the same. They think about the same trash. They think about not individuals. They don't even think short term or long term. They actually only think they're thinking long term, and they do it incorrectly still. It's ridiculous how short-sighted they are.
It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out. The Fallout TV show was on Amazon, and it's been great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also
She's deflecting so hard, she brought up a TV show. And I love how she brings up the Fallout TV show like she had anything to do with it. She's like, see, look, the Fallout TV show is great. Bitch, you didn't do shit with the Fallout TV show. Are you kidding me? What kind of answer is this? This is fucking dog shit answer, man. Like, what is this? Yeah. Like, it is connected to Bethesda. And I guess, like, very, very tertiarily connected to Xbox. Like, the grand sum total of what Xbox did to make the Bethesda, with the Fallout TV show is basically put the check mark as you can do this, and that's it. Like this is okay. That's all they did. They just gave the okay that this could be made. That is it. That nothing else. They didn't do anything else. Bethesda did a bit of work, Bethesda deserves some credit. When the Fallout TV show makers went to Bethesda and they said, hey, we need this and this detail, Bethesda basically just gave them like a carte blanche to look at every single file, game file, unreleased content files, all kinds of stuff to port things over to the TV show. They were having the 3D printers going like crazy. Bethesda deserves some credit for the TV show for sure. Todd Howard was on the set all the time. It's like his baby. He was like talking to the director, everything like that. That's a big reason why the show's good. But Xbox didn't do shit. And she definitely didn't do dog shit with the show. She has no right to say this. This is pure deflection. This is pure deflection.
also what it's done
So dumb.
for the games themselves and people going back and exploring everything that's inside of that. There's some other great things that are coming from our studios later this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie fan growing up. Looks like you were too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
Like firing them. Yeah. We need to do everything important to take care of them, like firing them. Yeah, this is a great idea. Great idea. Now, not only was this a non-answer, I want you to know, if I was in Microsoft, and if I was a Microsoft exec, and I was watching this interview, dude, I would want to fire Sarah Bond. This was one of the worst answers I've ever seen for a question, maybe ever in the gaming space. Like, it might be almost as bad as Nikita's answer. Nah, Nikita's was worse because that was like straight up a bold-faced lie when it came to the BSG situation. But this is a pretty bad answer. And if I was a shareholder of Xbox, which I'm not, if I had stock of theirs, I would feel very uncomfortable with the head of Xbox Gaming being this out of touch and not even able to string a sentence together. Like, dude, just sentence structure wise, like this entire sentence was dog shit. Her staying on point was completely dog shit. She was even given an out. We'll go back to this, but let's look at the question again from her, from the lady. Because if you look at the question very carefully, that this lady said.
Earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering
tell
of
you.
4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should game
The I know you're not studio chief was literally her giving an out to Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond could have given a very corporate deflection, but at least it's a cogent one, and it makes sense, where she's like, I'm not the corporate chief, so I do apologize. I can't really go into detail about these things. I can say this, this, and this, and give some random platitudes, and just leave it at that. And that would have been a better answer than what she just said. This is hilariously bad. This is hilariously bad.
Great things that are coming from our
Heck and Chalk,
studios
welcome.
later this year. Indiana
miss ya.
Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie
Sorry,
fan growing
replaying
up.
this part.
Looks like you were too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted.
Yeah, doing right by them by
and doing
firing them.
everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
I think one of the things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won a ton of awards. Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
One of
Sorry, I have to pause. It'll just crack me up. He said, Corgi, I think you're being unfair. Think of the shareholders. My God. You're right. Think of who's really hurting here, guys. We got to think of who's really hurting. The shareholders. Oh my God. Holy smokes. Holy smokes.
Employees is that, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won a ton of awards.
HifiRush, rest in peace.
Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
Simple answer, yes. And this is what really hurts Xbox here. I want you guys to know, all of this situation is with the company that made Redfall, Arkane, and everything like that. It sucks, but that one is relatively understandable. But closing the successful game studio that actually made a good game for you, it sends a really bad signal to the rest of their companies that even if you make a good game, we can and might still fire you. That's very bad for shareholders as well. Like, Diddles was memeing about the shareholders, but he's not wrong. It is actually important to think about what shareholders are possibly thinking. Not because I agree with it. I think shareholders are dog shit. But the reason it's important is because the shareholders are driving a lot of the decision making by Microsoft and by Xbox. That's why it's important to think about it. It's just important to think about it because you have to understand your enemy. And I definitely, as a gamer, see the shareholders as my enemy. Every gamer should. Because any decision that a game company makes that is against the gamer's interest is usually for the shareholders. That's why they want the stock to go up. PSN, being required, things like that. Same shit. It's for the same reason. Capcom releasing Dragon's dog shit 2 a month, what is it? Like maybe even 3 months early, and it releases in a broken state, still not fixed. Shareholders. All of these reasons are because they want to hit quarterlies and fiscal year ends and make the line go up for shareholders. It is important to always understand the root of the problem. Let's see
one
what
of
she
the
says
things
about
I really
this.
love about the games industry is it's a creative art form. And it means that the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. Like there's no one size fits all
What?
to it for us. And so
What?
we look at each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with sort of making decisions. And
Guys, I cracked the code. Do you want to know why all these game studios were shuttered and everything? Look at that. Look at that. Microsoft Xbox's year-over-year growth. These are the COVID years. This is before COVID, and it jumped up this high, went up another year, and then slowly started to go down, and now it went down drastically. This, oh my God, this is such a good picture. Holy smokes. Oh my God. Yeah, this literally illustrates my entire point. Also, her answer is dog shit here. She's being asked, why did you shutter Tango? Does this send a wrong signal? And she's talking about how she loves artists. What?
and trade-offs
What is this?
like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we're setting ourselves up to be able to deliver on those promises.
Which makes no sense considering they closed one of the game companies that made an actual Xbox game. Again, I know I've said this like 5 times before, but I'm nailing it especially hard because it just shows how dog shit the decision making is.
Talking, further about growth.
You know what else cracks me up, guys? When someone says a sentence that they don't believe in, that's when they nod to themselves.
To be able to deliver on those promises.
Watch the nod. See? Look at her little nod. She's like, yes, clap, please.
Talking further about growth, I mean, one of the key focus areas for Xbox in terms of growth, and this was also one of the key bets in the Activision acquisition, was mobile. What's the Xbox plan for future mobile gaming, and when can we finally see it?
This is a hilarious question considering one of the 4 gaming companies that were closed yesterday was the mobile gaming one. It was the one who made one of the only Xbox mobile games there are, the Mighty Doom. It's a mobile game. They closed their mobile gaming company. What is this, man? What is this? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the nod is to convince the other person. It's like, yes, laugh with me. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time since we announced the Activision acquisition, which
Yes. And when the announcement for Activision happened, like I said, and I'll bring this up again, I talked about this in my previous videos, but Phil Spencer gave us a lot of hope by literally bringing up 10 different or more, I don't remember if it was 8 or 10 or 12, different gaming franchises made by Blizzard and Activision that were completely and utterly left in the dust and abandoned by Blizzard and Activision. And he was like, I want to see more games from these franchises. And he mentioned Lost Vikings, he mentioned Blackthorn, which was an Activision game all the way back when. A lot of people who didn't play Super Nintendo don't know about it, but I know about it. Great game. He mentioned StarCraft was the big one. And there was like several other ones. I can't remember them off the top of my head. And we've not seen hide nor hair nor diddly little shit about any of them. About literally any of them. That's not good. This is why they bought Blizzard Activision.
we completed in October.
Hold on. I'm pausing this because Existential actually played my Doom. I never played my Doom. It looked cute. Mighty Doom was a fantastic game. Micros were minimal, and it's not pay to win. It was a grindy game, but the grind was a blast. Yeah, Existential, that's probably why they closed the company, because it didn't make enough microtransactions. It's very sad, but the fact that it was a good mobile game is probably why they closed it. But yeah, I didn't really know. I played a good amount of mobile games. But yeah, that was not one of them that I played. It looked cute, but I definitely didn't play it. I'm glad you gave us some detail. And Gold, welcome, buddy. We're discussing We're discussing this craziness going on with Xbox. This is Sarah Bond, head of, she's the president of Xbox, and this might be one of the worst interviews I've ever seen from a corporate exec ever. And it's so funny that this interview illustrates. Remember when I told you guys that a big part of the problems of gaming companies and a big part of the problem that the reason why they don't make money and a big problem why they have these massive missteps is because their executives are absolute dog shit. They make terrible decisions. They need to be fired. This is a prime example. Like, this illustrates my point far better than I could ever articulate. And I used to be a writer, so I can articulate pretty fucking well. And this just she's just absolutely destroying any point I could make by just illustrating it better. This is amazing. Like, oh my God.
And the whole thesis about that, a lot of why we did it was about mobile. And we felt strongly that there has been an opportunity for there to be an experience on mobile that is centered around gamers. Like we talked.
Imagine a Clash of the Clans style game made by, remember, when they bought Blizzard Activision, they also bought King. King is a mobile game maker. They make Clash of the Clans. They make, what's it called? Candy Crush, whatever. Imagine a Clash of the Clans game, but it's StarCraft. I wouldn't play it, but that would make, Xbox a lot of money. Guess what they haven't made? It wouldn't take that many dev resources to make a game like that. Mobile games are not hard to make. That's why you see so much dog shit mobile games out there. How have they not made that? It's free. It's a literal free idea. Microsoft has an Age of Empires mobile game. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
A lot about how there's 3 billion gamers in the world.
It's free real estate, yeah.
2 of those billion play on mobile. And
then why have you made no mobile games? Like, dude, I don't want more mobile games personally. However, it would be a smart business decision. How have they not done the smart business decision that is right in front of them? I think that all of the executives that are at Xbox need to be fired. Straight up. And I like Phil Spencer. And I think he's been a terrible leader in the past 5 years for Xbox. I think that he's basically been an abject failure. And this entire situation shows it. And I hate to say that because as a guy, I really like Phil Spencer. I think he's a really decent guy. He doesn't look like he's a good leader for Xbox. Sarah Bond, I mean, look, for all the missteps happening at Microsoft, I think we're starting to get an idea why. I think we're starting to get a really, really good idea why. Oh yeah, no, like, dude, I'm not saying that they should make just pay to win mobile games. Like, honestly, the Blizzard, what is it called? Warcraft Rumble. It's right here. Warcraft Rumble. It's actually a good mobile game. It costs like not very much money. I've not spent a single dime on it. And my guild, everyone spends, like their battle pass amount or whatever. And this is like amounts to a couple of dollars or whatever. It's making good money. Like, we don't have the financials or anything, but I would say Warcraft Rumble is an example of a very good mobile game that is made ethically. Warcraft Rumble will be shut down in 8 months. Just wait and see. It's possible, but I don't think so, because like the monetization is fair and people do like spend a decent amount of money on that game, and it is like a very easy game to play. It basically hits every single aspect, and they don't need to make a lot of content for it. They had to do a lot of the development up front, and like having like the games as a service level of content is very simple and it's very, very easy to do. I think that one will probably survive for a couple of years. Now, what I would say is, imagine if they made a Diablo 1 port and on to mobile, and it's like a straight up 1-to-1, and they sold it for like $10. No pay to win. It's the exact Diablo 1 game, $10. Would you buy it? I'd buy it. I would absolutely fucking buy it. That's a great idea. Holy shit, they should do that. Have they done that? No. Would it be really difficult to do? No. Ports are made all the time, and they're very successful. A lot of ports are on mobile, and they're really, really good. Brotato is a fantastic game. The port is great, and it's sold insanely well. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't even have to do it, though, Existential. What I'm saying is, like, even just a one-off sale, like, mobile game market is, again, like 2 billion gamers, right? Like, this number is not wrong. She is correct on this number. It's a lot of people. Even doing it $10, which makes it accessible for everyone, and it's just Diablo 1. It's a really old game, but it's a really good game, and it's really simple. It's perfect for a mobile game. Does not even need, any kind of stuff. Streets of Rage 4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Streets of Rage 4 is a great example of a mobile game that's a direct port, and you just buy it one time. Vampire Survivors is the same as well. You can buy the entire Vampire Survivors game for like, what, $5 or something. And it's a good port. There's the list goes on. The list goes on and on.
Half of those actually play on mobile and they play on another device. But there isn't actually a gaming platform and store experience that is centered around players and goes truly across device, where who you are, your library, your identity.
This is a Microsoft mandate right here. This is what they want to do. She's talking about they want to dive into the mobile market, not to just make games. They want to make a platform. Guys, this is why they shuttered 4 game companies, because they want to make a mobile platform for all their games, and they want people to buy things on their store as opposed to Apple and Google. That is why. Watch, I bet you she will bring up Apple and Google.
Your rewards, that travels with you versus being locked to a single ecosystem. And we've recognized that opportunity for a long time, but we wanted to make sure that anything we built was really grounded in people who play those mobile native games and the creators of them. And so being joined with a team that has real deep expertise in mobile was important to us.
Talking about King.
But we are that now.
Blizzard Activision King.
And so in July, we are going to be launching our mobile store experience.
Holy shit. Cut the presses. I'm a fucking genius. No, I just work in business. I know how these people think. I know what I know, Existential. I know what I know. I know business. I'm very successful in business.
We're going to start actually by bringing our own first-party portfolio to that. So you're going to see games like Candy Crush show up in that experience, games like Minecraft. And then we're going to extend that capability to partners so that they can also take advantage of it and have a true cross-platform, gaming-centric mobile experience. We're going to start on the web. And we're doing that because that really allows us to have it be an experience.
The reason that they're starting on the web, by the way, guys, is because they want people to be able to buy through browser. If you buy through browser, you don't have to be on the Apple Store and you don't have to be on the Google Play Store. They want people to buy it through browser and run it through browser for that reason. The other reason they want to go through browser is because everyone uses Windows. You know, some people use Mac, but those people are barely people. And almost every single person who's a real gamer, I mean, Mac doesn't even run half your games. Most people play everything on the Windows computer. And it can basically be forced to be used on your operating system. They could literally add redirects to their fucking mobile game site. Every time you open Microsoft Edge, it could take you to that fucking mobile game site. It's literally free marketing for them. It would access a group of people that would amount to what, like 4 billion people around the world? It's insane. That's why they're doing it through browser. It's very smart. This is the smartest thing she said, and the reason it's smart is because she didn't fucking come up with it. Microsoft came up with it. That's why. I have no doubt in my mind.
It's accessible across all devices, all countries, no matter what, independent of the policies of
It's true.
closed ecosystem stores.
It's true.
And then we're going to extend from there. So I'm just
Now the problem is that she was talking about we can bring our games to it and everything like that. What fucking games? What fucking games are they bringing to this fucking store? What games? The only games I can think of is, Mighty Doom, which is closed, and all of the games not made by them, which were the games that they acquired through buying Activision Blizzard King. That's it. Those are the only ones. Yeah, Flight Sim mobile game, though? No, we're talking about mobile games, Mage. There's no mobile game for Flight Sim, is there? Hold on. I don't think there is. If there's a mobile game for Flight Sim, I need to fucking buy that. That sounds awesome. Even if it's just like a walking simulator or whatever. You could see it going mobile. Yeah, maybe if they developed one. But Mage, they've had Microsoft Flight Sim for like decades. Where is any announcement of Microsoft Flight Sim Mobile? Like, if they're starting development now, it won't be out for another year, at least. That game would take a lot of work to make mobile. Like, they could do it. I agree with you. It's a pretty interesting idea. I would play it. But, I mean, I love simulator games, and I love flying and all kinds of shit. I'm a huge flight nerd, science nerd, space nerd. I would absolutely eat that shit up. Like, that would be a great plane. Like, imagine being able to fly a plane on your computer, on your phone when you're in a plane. It just writes itself. It's a great idea. However, I don't see that there's been any announcement. This would be something that they would want to announce, is my point. The fact that they didn't announce it is because I don't think they're working on it yet. I don't think they're that forward thinking, Mage. That's the problem. We're coming up with all these great ideas that could make them a lot of money, and they've thought of none of them. They've thought of zero of them. Right now, they're relying on Candy Crush and like Warcraft Rumble and like, Hearthstone and shit like that, and that's it. Things that they didn't even make.
I'm excited about it just because it's something that we've wanted to do for a long time. We've heard gamers talking about it for a long time, and we're now at the point.
No one fucking talked about this. Only Microsoft wants this because they want line go up. That's
where
it.
We can take those steps.
And so in July when it launches, we at that point at the beginning see Candy Crush and Minecraft in it, or how soon, or?
Also, she asked a really good question about the studio's closing, but she could have pressed on it, and she didn't at all. This interviewer is not. She asked one good question, but she could have stuck to it, and she didn't. And this is why we hate fucking journalism today in general. We have no good journalists anymore. We have no journalists that are willing to pressure someone and get a real answer anymore. Sarah Bond was allowed to fucking weasel her way out of it. And she weaseled her way out of it. She gave the worst deflection of all time, and she got away with it. Dina Baranda, or whatever the fuck her name is, Dina Brand, Dina something or other. I don't remember her name. Dina something. She didn't stick with the question. It's gone. She's already moved on.
You'll see things roll out over time.
Do you know how soon partners will be able to use it as well?
Our goal is to get partners using it shortly after launch. We really want to make sure we start and we scale using our own IP first. That allows us to make sure that the experience that we bring partners into really builds on all the quality and learning.
They're talking about all the companies that they don't own yet that they just have partnerships with. Like, for example, Pal World and stuff like that. Companies that are nowhere near, any kind of like formal structure.
We have as a team.
That's what they're doing.
Another big discussion point in the Activision acquisition was cloud gaming and how big that market really.
I brought up cloud gaming. Cloud gaming is another one of those line go up things. Cloud gaming is one of those things where you bring it to your shareholders and say, hey, we're developing cloud gaming, and if we even remotely nail it, we'll make like $5 billion year over year. And it won't be even close. And they're right. see, they're going to be looking at AI and cloud gaming and mobile. Those are the three areas that Microsoft wants to look at to actually make a lot of money in gaming. And none of it is good for gamers. Cloud gaming is okay, but cloud gaming is a fucking dog shit joke right now. And I doubt it's going to change in the next 10 years.
When will we really see it gain traction? Is it gaining users finally in any particular regions and scenarios?
Nope.
How is it doing? What do people use it for?
Yeah, so, cloud gaming.
Yeah, so, cloud gaming.
For those that don't know, I don't know if everyone here in the audience is familiar with it, is just the ability to play a game natively from the cloud. So you don't need to actually have a piece of hardware in your home, and you can experience something that's AAA Xbox gaming on any device, regardless of the local compute.
She's not at like Bloomberg nothing. She's at Bloomberg Tech. Everyone listening to this knows what the fuck cloud gaming is. It's so stupid.
That you have.
She's wasting time.
And we have been investing in that for some time because we really believe that opening
billions of your dollars
have
gone into that instead of making good games.
Experiences to more gamers is important for industry growth, for developers, and we know people want to play those experiences.
Existential says it correctly. We're not going to lie. Xbox game streaming is top tier. The issue is we actually also want to own our shit. Completely agreed. Completely agreed. But, I mean, this is a big focus for them because, like I said, even if they don't hit the bullseye and they, hit the last ring on the archery board, cloud gaming is such a huge thing that she will just straight up, Microsoft will straight up make hundreds of billions of dollars and market share that is, not even close to reaching. And they would just win the video game race from the other companies, and it's not even close. It's one of those silver bullet situations. And these game companies, these giant corporations cannot help themselves when they look at numbers like that. They just cannot help themselves. Oh, I agree with you. It's very long from now. I agree with you. And Heck and Sean, thank you for the sub. You're amazing from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the adorable emotes. We love and appreciate you. And I hope you're really enjoying the discussion, my friend. We do a lot of these. And definitely follow the YouTube. You can catch up on some of the lovely discussions that we've had in the past. I have made over 160 videos on YouTube now. And is she reading? I feel like her answers would have been much better if she was reading. She's not reading. Her answers are so bad, you can be rest assured she's not reading. She's not using teleprompter, nothing. She probably would have been better off if she had. Her answers would have made far more sense if she had.
And we're seeing tremendous growth there. We have more demand than supply in that area. And you'll see us
she has no notes.
Rolling out more capacity.
She's looking down.
Introducing more options for people to jump in and play on the cloud.
And is it growing faster than the overall market? We were talking about the market itself is down. Where is cloud gaming?
It is growing faster than the overall market, really bringing in new players and growth for us. So it's an area.
Fact check. Population. Microsoft says, this is as of 2022, more than 20 million people have used Xbox Cloud Gaming. This means used it once ever. Those are not really that high numbers, guys. This is really not nearly that high. Now, maybe the number is much higher now, but all these numbers for cloud gaming are just way too out of date. Yeah, I wish I could give you guys a better number. Oh. This is interesting. 10% of total hours played on Xbox game is via cloud? If that's true, that is actually a really good number for them. We have no idea if this number is true. But if that's true, that's a very good number for them.
Where we're investing more and we're excited about.
Earlier this year, Xbox announced for the first time that it was bringing a slate of Xbox-developed games, Xbox-exclusive games, to rival platforms, to Sony's PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. That obviously was a big change. It was a little bit unsettling for some of the
They want
Xbox
money.
hardware fans.
They're
How is
desperate.
it going so far? Do you have any data about how the games are doing? Do PlayStation gamers really want to play Sea of Thieves?
It's early.
This is one of the better ideas Xbox has had. They should have done this earlier. They should have done this better and bigger earlier. Something like Sea of Thieves, which is already multi-platform, there's no reason not to bring it to the Switch and PlayStation. The thing is I think they're realizing that they've hit a ceiling when it comes to Xbox Game Pass. Without, third-party based titles and in a larger number, the Xbox Game Pass subscriptions is not surprising that it's slowed. And they're spending a lot of money that don't go into day one sales putting games onto Xbox Game Pass. I think they're going to go in the opposite direction. I think you're going to see a lot of games that used to be Xbox exclusive going on PlayStation now. I don't think we're going to see Halo on Xbox. Sorry, on PlayStation. But also I think that's probably because we haven't seen a good Halo game for a very long time. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Days yet,
Switch
so
to? Yeah,
I don't have
maybe.
specific data to share, but we are really encouraged by the reception of our games. And one thing that I think it's important to know.
This is one of the very few good things for gamers, by the way. The more platforms that have every single game, the better. Any time a Sony exclusive comes to PC, that's a good thing. Now, PSN is a big issue, and we're going to be talking about that, or we did talk about that earlier. But just as a matter of course, is having the game come over as a port, good thing. More gamers playing, always good. More gamers playing Sea of Thieves on PlayStation, Switch, that's good. I want as many platforms to have as many games as possible. So excited for Switch 2. Do we have any details? Send me some details. If there's any video or anything, I'll cover it later.
Is, as Xbox, we've been putting games on other platforms for a long time.
Yes.
Minecraft is available.
This is one of the only really, truly good things about Xbox. The fact that they cared much more about making money through video games as opposed to making money through the Xbox platform. This is one of the really good things about them. And this is why I was giving them, a bit of slack for their other missteps. But, that window is already closed. That window was closed a long time ago over the past 5 days.
Pretty much universally.
But this is one of the good things.
The teams at Bethesda have had games on other platforms. The teams at Activision Blizzard have games on other platforms. And so it's a decision we just make on a game-by-game basis as we move forward and continue to execute on our strategy.
Another non-answer from her, by the way. Complete non-answer.
At the same time, we've talked about mobile, we've talked about cloud. Of course, Xbox itself's heritage is in console, and
send me an article with that or a video.
Right now is a little challenged. Many of the hardcore long-term customers are worried. They're worried about the release on other platforms. They're worried that that may indicate that Xbox is defocusing its own hardware. What do you say to them?
They are. Yes, that is exactly what they're doing. You know what the sad thing is, though? They don't have to. All they have to do is make fucking video games. That is it. Hold on. Xbox corporate chart of all companies. I should be able to find one of these. There should be a chart with every single game company. Should be readily available. Come on, Google, don't fail me. Let's see what's on their website for this. Oh, man. They haven't even taken it off, guys. Tango and Arkane and Roundhouse, they're still on here. Alpha Dog, all of these were closed. These 4 were closed. What the fuck? They haven't had a Rare game in ages. I don't think Rare has anything in development. Turn 10, I don't know who that is. Undead Labs, we have no idea about anything from them. They're the awesome game makers of State of Decay. Fantastic zombie survival game, one of my absolute favorites. 1 and 2, both of them. I still play 1 from time to time when I don't have internet because it's completely offline and it's a fantastic game. Double Fine, they have a couple of games. Ninja Theory, have you guys seen any commercials for Senua's Sacrifice? Sorry, the second one? I've seen like nothing. And that game is coming out in like 2 weeks. What the fuck? 343? Oh, we all know about 343. They fucking blow. Obsidian? Obsidian's coming out with Avowed next year. There's nothing this year from them. Initiative? What the fuck is the Initiative? I actually don't know what this is. Perfect Dark? Yeah, this game hasn't come out. That's it? What? What are they working on? What are these companies working on, man? There's nothing. Learn what makes our studio unique. 2 paragraphs. What is this? They ported a few games from Xbox to PC. Okay, so they're one of the support studios. That's fine if they're a support studio, but they're only a support studio. World's Edge. We'll look through the list, but I'll do this after the interview ends. I'll go ahead and open all of them. Let's see what exact games are in development for Xbox. This will be a very, very interesting discussion. Just going to open all of these. Hell, I'll even open up the closed ones. Just so we can be extra sad. Roundhouse Studios no longer has a link, guys. It's officially dead. The rest of the closed ones have a link. Roundhouse doesn't. Oh, that's so depressing.
How do you make them feel like Xbox is still for them?
Yeah, I mean, first, the worry that I see is happening across the industry, and I think is a lot of what we're seeing, just industry all up. But specific,
it's almost like the entire industry is making the same dog shit decisions. Now, I want you guys to know this is partly true. This is very strongly true, that a lot of the losses that the industry is having could be mitigated by better decision making. And you see this with Larian Studios and From Software and Capcom. They've basically dodged a lot of these missteps by smarter decision making. Now, Capcom, they have their issues with microtransactions and shit like that, but they at least develop a lot of games, and a lot of them are very, very, very good. Now, they've had the missteps, like I said, but, you know, they've at least dodged most of the missteps. Larian, same thing. From Software, same thing. A lot of the other game companies have had massive, massive issues, and that's due to leadership. That is due to bad marketing. That is due to bad leadership. That is due to bad decision making. And that is due to making some fucking bad fucking games.
to core gamers,
This
my
is
focus
so dumb.
has really been on engineering and building that next generation hardware experience that really, really taps in to their needs.
And this is the problem. They focus so much on the engineering of hardware. And by the way, the hardware for the Xbox Series S and Series X hasn't changed in years. So that excuse is out the window. But what the fuck is going on with their actual games? There's none.
I talked about this a little bit
Mage. We
publicly
covered
a
that.
few months ago. I talked about how, our
I'll
focus
discuss
is
it.
on delivering the biggest leap ever.
And existential, thank you.
And that's about really thinking through every aspect of what that hardware and what that experience delivers with the core gamer in mind. And that is about power and performance. That's absolutely a part of it. But it's also about the ability to be able to play all.
It's shocking that no one has said, if we don't have good games on the console, no one is going to buy our fucking console.
Of the games. I mean,
They
we
got
have people
Starfield.
who've been playing on Xbox for decades.
Microsoft had very little hand in Starfield. Starfield did the vast majority of its development way, way before they were even bought out by Microsoft. Most of the development was done before that, and Microsoft and Xbox were not involved. They were involved only in, like, I would say, like, the last 6, 7, 8 months. That's it. They don't even have that excuse.
Decades have invested thousands and thousands of dollars and hours with us, and to be able to take all of those games with them into the hardware.
Existential says, guys, there's a secret that no one is considering. The Xbox is going to dual boot as a Steam box. Is this true? Like, where do you know this from? If that's true, that would be the best idea Xbox has had in the past 5 years. That's why I don't think it's true. It'd be too smart. That'd be a great idea. I just don't think that's. I just don't know if any of. I've never heard of this. If this is true, that would actually be a good idea. Interview to try to get Steam on Xbox Series X. Phil Spencer made a comment in an interview to try. Can you send me that? I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I've not heard of this.
Of the future. So one of the decisions I made when I came in and became president,
that would be
of
a smart
Xbox
idea. That would
was
actually
to
be a
establish
smart
a
idea.
team dedicated to that, to game preservation and ensuring that future generations, future iterations, that you get to take those things with you forward. The next part of that is saying, okay, I get to bring those games with me.
The Xbox Series S and Series X are not even that strong. Like, dude, both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which one is stronger, the X or the S? I don't know. Whatever the strong one is, they're basically low-powered computers. They're literally low-powered computers. The X is stronger? Okay. It's literally a low-powered computer.
I'm invested in those games. I get an incredible high-performance experience on my console, but also continuing our.
Yeah, the X and Steam Deck aren't that different in power. That should show you. The Steam Deck is a handheld.
Our commitment to make sure that gamers can bring their games with them wherever they want to play. That my Xbox library is something that can go with me and that I can enjoy with others. So our long-term commitment to cross-play.
I got the link, Existential. Thank you.
And our commitment to cross-progression and cloud saves, so you can pick up on one device and you can play on another.
This is smart. This is what we all thought that Xbox would have mastered by now. That they wouldn't have to close game companies because they're doing all of these steps right in their complete steps. The cloud saves, the cross-play, the ability to have so many different games at your fingertips on both the Xbox and the PC and cloud gaming and mobile. Like, this is why people were hot on Xbox a year ago. This is what people wanted. They just haven't done it. It's just not done. And instead they're shuttering game studios right, left, and sideways.
Part of that. And also our investments in cloud gaming, which you referenced earlier. A lot of those who use cloud gaming are people who own a console. They're just, they want to play it on another device and go somewhere else. So that's the second piece. And then the last piece is about Game Pass. We know our core users love Game Pass. Game Pass is a gaming subscription. You get a whole
The Game Pass numbers are not even rising anymore.
Portfolio of games, but importantly, you get every single one of our games that we build day one in Game Pass. And the quality and the breadth of those games has only been going up over time, and you're going to see some more really big games going into Game Pass later this year.
From Activision's portfolio?
Across the whole slate, across the.
She was asking that, by the way, about Activision because of COD. The rumor is that COD will be going to Xbox Game Pass. I think that would be a terrible idea. I hate COD players because they take it up the ass by Activision year over year. COD sales numbers by year. This is why this is a bad idea. In literally a 2-year span, they sold 100 million units, 100 million COD games. That's a lot of fucking COD. I don't even like COD, but these are numbers that are undeniable. Putting that on Game Pass would be a massive loss for Xbox. They would be dumb as fuck to do this. It's a lot of cock, exactly.
Whole slate. You're going to see some really amazing things. And keeping that as something that is really special for Xbox players.
I think this was the only smart answer she's had so far, where she basically slightly deflected by saying there's going to be answers from, like, you know, games from everywhere, and she didn't buy into the COD thing. She didn't talk about Activision. She didn't talk about COD. And hopefully that means that COD won't be going on Xbox Game Pass. Because, you know, that would just be very dumb. They'd literally be losing like $200 million.
Is central for us.
A lot of the focus at this
Yeah, the
conference
fish,
today
yeah.
has been AI.
Codfish.
But AI for gamers is a little different than we talk about AI for the enterprise or for
Yeah.
healthcare. Where do you think AI will be important, both to players and to game developers? And how is Microsoft investing against that?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I didn't hear all the talks today, but I think we can all confidently say that we are right at the beginning of what AI means for us as a society, and for businesses in general. And that's absolutely true in gaming as well. For us, we take our responsibility around AI as Microsoft very seriously.
Microsoft's responsibility for AI is that they want to unshackle themselves from every single what is it called, morality burden possible, and because they know that if they're the first to develop like the best AI, they will make fuck you money for the rest of humanity, pretty much. It's one of those types of game changers where, you know, there's $6 trillion business revenue, business value would be literally a piss in the pot compared to what it would be if they create AI. And I mean like the real AI, the AI that takes over the world AI. They don't care about any morality, nothing. Because they know if they don't do it, someone else will. There's no doubt in my mind that this is exactly what they're gunning for.
Being really, really thoughtful about what we do. And as Xbox, there's something really unique about being a gaming company that is part of a major AI company. And so all of our focus within our team is about how we ensure that gaming AI is really crafted in a way that delivers unique and delightful experiences to players.
Existential says, I can see AI being a great tool for NPCs. Pay the VAs to do the rules. AI to adjust conversations in game to reflect your progress. Replace VAs, not the root. Oh, they're going to go much worse into this, Existential. They want AI so they can fire all of their workforce and just replace it with AI. They want AI to do, it's not even VAs. Dude, they want to replace everyone with AI. Are you kidding? They want to go hard with AI. They want their costs to go down as much as possible, and they want to control the world's most advanced AI. That's what they want. This is Microsoft's goal, 100%. By the way, this is not me shitting on Microsoft. This is every major tech company that is even remotely looking at AI. This is everyone's goal. This is China's goal as an entire country. They're literally gearing their entire tech focus to AI. This is Microsoft's goal. This is one of Apple's stated goals. This is literally every single major tech company is going for this. There's entire companies that all they're doing is developing AI. Straight up. And I
adds
mean like
real
the Terminator
value for
level AI.
developers. So there's three things we look at as part of that. The first is around developer velocity. How do we give developers tools to make it easier for them to realize their creations, to speed
This was the entire point of Microsoft buying game companies. They've been saying this for years. When they started buying game companies, what is it, like 8 years ago? I think Undead Labs was bought 8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the first ones. And they have increased zero velocity in these game companies for actually developing their games. Otherwise, we would have a lot of Xbox games right now. And we don't have any. Not any, but we have barely any.
up iteration cycles, and also, frankly, to make it easier for people who may not have as much in-depth training on game development.
The games
to build
have
a
only
game.
gotten more bloated.
We know that with that, there's just going to be a huge proliferation of gaming content and options out there. So that leads us very naturally to the next layer where we're investing a lot, which is around discovery and making sure that people can really be matched with the game experience that we know that they'll love, and that a whole range of creations can be discovered from the biggest games, but also from something novel and new that you may not have intuitively known to look for, but you're going to love if you experience it. And then the last piece is around the actual experience in the game.
So much of what she's saying is just nonsensical,
playing
man.
through and having a fun time, not getting stuck, all the things that come with that, so that you can get really the most out of the game experience. So we are early in this, as I said. You'll see us share things, and things will come out during the course of the year. But our focus just really continues to be on keeping player at the center, keeping the developer at the center, and how AI turns up in gaming.
Xbox President Sarah Bond, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This might be one of the worst interviews. I said this before, I'll say it again. This is one of the worst interviews I've ever seen in my life. If I was an Xbox shareholder, I would be fucking selling my stock. Yeah, this is terrible. Oh my God, man. You know, we're gonna do it, guys. I feel bad, but not really that bad. I'm gonna keep this picture. This picture is gold. But what we're gonna be looking at is Sarah Bond's corporate history. How the fuck did she become the president of Xbox? Let's find out. Sarah Bond's history. Because she seemed woefully unprepared. She seemed extremely uncomfortable. And considering she's the president of Xbox, she should have had, you know, some, like, even basic premises of answers. I could think of answers, and I don't even work in the position. And I was able to, like, say, like, she could have said this, and it would have been, like, an easy deflection for her, but it would have made some logical sense and actually set, like, you know, shareholders and, like, you know, Xbox gamers' minds at ease. And she did nothing of the sort. Like, she did so much in 20 minutes to harm the Xbox brand. She did more than Sony ever could have dreamed to harm Xbox. Oh my God. All right, so let's read her Wikipedia. Let's see if there's any information. It looks like it's very bare bones, which is not surprising at this point. American business executive, current president of Xbox at Microsoft, overseeing entire brand's operations as a platform and ecosystem, including hardware and devices, player and creator experiences, platform engineering, strategy, business planning, data and analytics, and business development and partnerships. She's from Morristown, New Jersey, aged 45, went to Yale University and Harvard Business School. So I got into both Yale and Harvard. Didn't end up going because they didn't give me any money for you know, going to college. And I ended up going to also I didn't want to go. I went to Harvard once, and dude, when I did the campus visit at Harvard, I went to the we're doing the little like tour thing, and we go to the library. I shit you not. I kid you not. I saw a kid, and by a kid I mean, a college student. He was reading like a library book on near the shelf. He was standing up, and he took the book and he tore out the page. I'm not kidding. And I go up to him, and the thing's moving on, the little group. So I go up to him like, "Hey, I just saw you tore out a page." And he's like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna tell on you, dude. I was just wondering why." And he's like, "Oh, you don't understand. This page is what we need for our exam. So if I tear this out, only I have the answer, and it'll bring down the average." And I'm like, "Is that what you're learning here? Like, what? What is you just violated a book? What is wrong with you?" And that's when I knew doesn't even matter if they give me a scholarship, I'm not going to Harvard. Like that weirded me out so much. And in college later on, when I went to University of Maryland, when I was in University of Maryland, I met some friends from Harvard, blah, blah. Well, I met some, friends of friends that came to visit the university, visiting their friends, and, partied with them and hung out with them and stuff. Every single Harvard kid was weird, man. They were weird, twisted. They gave me, oh my God, it was so, so weird, man. It was so, so weird. I did not like it. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's my experience at Harvard. Very limited experience, obviously. When I visited Yale, it was much nicer. It was much nicer. Rich kid syndrome, partly, yeah, it was like a superiority complex. Even people who didn't get in there for money and they just got in there for like, with scholarship and stuff, they were weird as well. Like I didn't meet a single normal person from Harvard. And I met like maybe 20 odd people over my um almost decade going to school, both for undergraduate and graduate school. So yeah, I met a lot of people in that time, and yeah, no, it was 20 of them, I think. I would just estimate 20, 15, 20 people from Harvard. All of them were weird. Every single one of them. Not a single normal person I met from Harvard. Not a single one. Dude, okay, here's a funny story. I went to oh no, I don't mind massholes, dude. Bill Burr is my favorite comedian, Mage. I have nothing against massholes. I love massholes. So here's an example. I was dating a girl in college, and her two best friends went to Harvard. And so they visited our university to visit my at the time girlfriend. And so, it's my girlfriend's friends. I want to show them a good time. So I take them to a comedy show, and the comedy show is of who's the guy on Full House, the comedian? He did stand up. He's really funny, extremely raunchy. God, what's his name? He passed away a couple of years ago. Bob Saget. Bob Saget came to University of Maryland for stand up. And I got tickets for them to, I got it for my girlfriend and I, but for them as well at the time, girlfriend. And I only dated her for like a year and a half in college. But dude, he was so funny. I look over at their faces, and they were boyfriend girlfriend couple, my friend's friends, and they were not laughing at all. At all. And it was one of the funniest stand-ups I had ever seen live. And I was like, what is going? I think it was too raunchy for them. But dude, we're like college kids, man. Like what in the world? And so then, I take them out to a nice dinner, and it was like one of the nicer areas on the campus. It was like the little campus, like fancy dining restaurant or something. And they were like so snooty throughout, which sucks, but that's whatever. And it, set me worse at ease. And then we go back to hang out in my room. And so I put on a movie. I was like, okay, maybe that was too raunchy. Maybe Bob Saget was just too raunchy. Maybe we need to put on some comedy that is just like more relaxed, more silly, you know, a better visual medium for comedy. And so I put on Spaceballs the movie, one of the best spoof movies ever made. They did not laugh at all. They didn't get any jokes. And then I found out in the middle of the movie they had never seen Star Trek, they'd never seen Star Wars, they had never seen Aliens, they'd never seen any of the reference movies ever. And these are two people that are my age. They're 20 something. I think it was 19 actually at the time. What are these people, man? They weren't from this earth. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And I can understand if you know, didn't watch Spaceballs, but I can't understand if you didn't watch Star Trek, Star Wars, Aliens, anything of the snuff. Yeah, were they body snatchers? That's what I was feeling like existential. That when I'm saying that they were weird, I'm saying that this is how weird they were. They didn't understand any of these things, man. I didn't see them laugh a single time. They barely smiled when they hugged their friend that they came over to visit. That's it. It was weird, man. It was weird. I will never understand it. It was like, yeah, maybe I was this close to getting my body snatched. Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Anyways, that's the complete aside. So yeah, Harvard's fucking weird. Okay, career. Sarah Bond is a business executive recognized for her achievements in the technology and gaming industry. Okay, what has she done? Commencing her career as an associate partner at McKinsey and Company. Okay, what is this? Multinational strategy management consulting firm. It's a consulting firm. Do you know how many consultants don't do shit, guys? My consulting company gets hired by consulting firms to do their work. That's literally what a lot of our company does to make money. We get hired by consulting firms to do their work. That's how we're so good at consulting. That's how we've survived COVID. I've never worked with this particular company, but this is very weird. Okay. She then transitioned, so there's no information. And how she became an associate partner at this company at the beginning of her career is insane, by the way. Like, how the fuck do you become an associate partner as your first position? This is her first position here, guys. Like, this is like silver spoon, man. I'm assuming nepotism of some kind or something, because this is insane. She then went to work at T-Mobile, held key roles, including chief of staff to CEO John Laguerre, and then senior vice president of corporate strategy and development. And then she worked at Microsoft from 2017 onwards, so 7 years. She started as a corporate vice. So there's a thing where a lot of times business executives are all incompetent because what they do is they fail upward. So you start out at a company at a certain position. Let's call it position 1. Because, you know, all these corporate roles, they sound the same, blah, blah, blah. So let's just say level 1. Then you look at, after like 3 years of working there, this is what a lot of people do, by the way. This is what a lot of people who work the corporate ladder do. This is how you make a lot of money doing nothing. So you work at position 1, then you, after 2-3 years of doing nothing and not making big waves in a negative way, all you want to do is make sure you don't do anything bad. You go to company number 2 and you get position number 2. You say, hey, I've already worked at position 1, hire me for position 2. They hire you for position 2. You're now 1 rung up on the corporate ladder. You've climbed a rung. This is why all of these companies are essentially revolving doors, and one person will work at like the same 10 different companies as another executive, and they just keep changing hands. It's like a big game of merry-go-round. and you've learned nothing. You're now at position 2. You have more responsibilities, more pay, but you don't actually do much. Then you do the same thing 2 years later without anything to really show for your name. You work at position 3 at company 3. And then same, and sometimes you skip 2 rungs. Sometimes you go to company 4 and you get hired for position 5 or position 6. And then you go all the way up to position 10, suddenly you're CEO, and you haven't done shit with your life. You actually haven't created anything. You've not overseen any real projects. And all you do is hire out to companies like mine, subcontract out, and I do your work. That is, I have known so many people at these major companies that do exactly this all the time. I get hired by them. This is, oh my God, she's one of these. By the way, the reason she's incompetent, chat, is because she is one of these. You can see the proof of the pudding in the eating. She couldn't even last for 17 minutes with cogent discussions about stuff that she was coached for. She's been preparing for this interview since they announced the closures of these game companies to the senior staff who knew weeks in advance of the actual announcement. Like, this is not something that she didn't know about for 2 months. She's known about this for at least 2 months, if not more. They had to make these decisions over the past couple of months, guys. Okay. So then in 2017, she joined Microsoft, starting as corporate vice president, overseeing gaming business development and partnerships at Xbox. This is why she was involved with the acquisition of Lionhead Gaming, Lionhead Studios, and all these other gaming companies that Microsoft bought with Phil Spencer, by the way. She essentially worked closely with Phil Spencer in this role. She later assumed the position of corporate vice president of game creator experience and ecosystem. This means nothing. What did this do? Notably, played a pivotal role representing Microsoft during the scrutinized bid to acquire Activision Blizzard. So she's a corpo who specializes in buying other companies. She works in M&A. That's it. That's all she does. She doesn't actually know a single thing about gaming or the business of making games or the business of creating gaming ecosystems or anything. All she does is M&A. Her entire thing, granted, this is a huge acquisition, and it took years to put together. We were talking about the Blizzard Activision all the way back, acquisition, all the way back in 2021. Someone in marketing wrote this for her. Yeah. I mean, do you see why? She's 45. By the time she was done with Harvard Business School, she was what, 26, 27 or something? And she starts as a associate partner at a consulting firm at 27. There's no accolades to her name. There's no projects she's done. Nothing. And it's because all she was doing was climb the corporate ladder. Quixotic Imp, my friend, welcome. I hope you're having a great night. We miss you. It's good to see you. In 2022, she received the Visionary Award from GamesBeat for her contributions to the industry. What the hell is GamesBeat? Why did she get this award? Is it literally because of just the acquisition of Activision Blizzard? Is that a contribution, really? I don't know how this counts. In October 26, she promoted to the president of Xbox, reporting directly to Phil Spencer. That's it. She serves on the boards of organizations such as Chegg, ESA, and Zuora. So what this means, by the way, being serving on a board position, it sounds like a lot, but it's literally nothing. All you do is you get paid money to be on a board of directors, and you kind of like, sometimes do votes and stuff. If you ever get a board position, take it, because you'll get paid $10,000 just for your name to be there. That's like the low end. That's for like a small board. There's like so many random organizations in my area where you can essentially, you know, if you have like a good enough business degree and stuff, you can, and I know people that have this done, by the way. Like this is all they do. They're on like 10 different boards. They get $100,000 a year from being on those boards, and they do like no work. They go to like a weekend's worth of meetings a year, and that's it. That's literally their entire job. So the being on these boards is nothing. I just want you guys to know. It sounds nice, but it is actually no work at all. Oh, Blaze Blue, nice. Purple Grande, welcome, buddy. It's good to see you. By the way, Quick Exotic and Purple Grande, we have our computer back. We're playing lots of fun games. We're doing lots of discussions. And my YouTube, there's a new game. There's a new video going up every single morning. So if you like these gaming discussions, these more serious discussions as well as a ton of awesome games and a lot of gameplay and a lot of like good discussions about happy things as well. I have 160 videos on there. So if you're not following the YouTube guys, Quick Exotic Imp and El Purple Grande, send that a follow. I'm on the road to 1,000 followers so I can get monetized on YouTube. We're at 600. We were 600 the other day. And we have a lot of fun stuff. So hopefully you enjoy. Share it with your friends, please. I would really appreciate it. And if you like any of the videos, give it a like, give it a comment, my friends. The lovely Mystic comment for you, my friend. I want you to know that you can do anything you set your mind to. Focus hard, kick ass, because I know you can take those names. We believe in you, friend. She lived in the UK for 10 years for education. She took 10 years off. She had a 10-year period where she just chilled in the UK. What? What was she doing? Both Yale and Harvard, by the way, are not in the UK. They have some like satellite, universities, partnerships with other universities in the UK. Maybe that's what she was spending a couple of years here and there for. But dude, make the insult good. I want it raw. You want it hard. Your mom wanted it raw and hard last night. There you go. That's my insult. I don't know. It was just a stupid your mom joke. That's all I can do. That's all I got. That's all I got. It was right there. A stupid your mom joke. She's done nothing. Sarah Bond has done nothing, guys. Okay, let's see what her Microsoft LinkedIn profile is. Let's see what I can look at. She's written some articles just on LinkedIn, which don't count as actual articles. I can't sign in. It'll show my like IRL information. Maybe this random business review has more information. It's the exact same as her Wikipedia. It's literally the exact same. There's no detail here. There's literally nothing. Basically, when you're a fucking corporate CEO and COO, CFO, all these little words, you get all of the hard work that other people do to get these accolades, like 25 million subscribers to Game Pass. You get the goods from it, even though you did nothing to do it. Probably the only thing that she was actually directly involved in of any use whatsoever was the Blizzard Activision acquisition. That's it. Literally it. And she probably didn't even do that much work for it. This woman is the president of Xbox. That's why we're looking her up. We just saw an interview with her, and it was one of the worst interviews I had ever seen in my life. Rising star for a long time. This means nothing. It just means you climbed the corporate ladder. That's it. Sorry, I was just scanning to see if there's anything useful. That's it. Yeah. No details. Considering that she has such an important position at Microsoft, it's insane that there's no information about her. It's actually like, dude, she's like a fucking corporate plant, man. This is insane. There's no information about her. Is the reason why Xbox is gonna fail? I honestly think that, like, you know, I was very positive about Phil Spencer for a very long time, but I think it's very clear they focus so little on actual games. Oh my God, they've had so many major missteps. Like, remember when Redfall came out and Phil Spencer was like a big part of the reason, his words were that Redfall was a failure, is that they basically, you know, let the company do whatever they were going to do without real oversight. And it's like, this is your job. How the fuck did you let this go? Like, how did you let this go through without oversight? It is one of your biggest games, and it costed hundreds of millions of dollars to make. How the fuck did you have zero oversight? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. She's a corporate puppet. Yeah, exactly.